Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. My name is Fowler, and you have tuned into my studio, which is a shed in the woods in New Brunswick. Welcome to yet another live stream of us going over each other's tracks and checking it out and providing feedback and growing as a community, hopefully, or maybe getting worse. Who knows? I'd like to really quickly thank this week's sponsor, which is this raw granola bar that I haven't eaten yet. It definitely will come in handy later, so thank you, granola bar. If you want to submit tracks for these streams, they happen every Friday at 5 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. And the way you submit is you go on my Discord server. It's discord.gg/FWLR music. And all the instructions and everything are on there. So, yeah, let's get right into it because we got 16 tracks and we got to get through them. So let's go. This is FL. Okay, here we go. So the first, now I will say that, oh my God, I will say that some people have been having a hard time following the formatting requirements, and that's okay. But maybe put your artist name in the file name would be good. Okay, let's go. The first one is Vi Prototype. Okay, let's okay, first of all, intro dope. Everything up to here was really good, atmospheric, really cool and kind of discerning sounding. I like the silence here, but maybe like a little reverse like into this part. And then what I found with this part is it sounds like the bed for something. Like it sounds like it's missing the main character, which could be a vocal cut, it could be a full-on vocal, but it feels to me like it is missing like that main kind of focal point to give the track its identity. So maybe play around with something there. That would also make, like, I kind of felt like the anticipation was building up very strongly and it was not quite delivered on when we got to this spot. But if we had like a vocal or some sort of main element or motif or something, then maybe that wouldn't have been quite a letdown. Okay, so... Okay, so everything up to here was cool, but now that we get to this drop, what the drop is doing is cool, but I feel like the drum selection could be a lot better. Like if we listen to just the sub range, there's definitely some overlapping happening. Actually doesn't sound as bad as I thought it would down the sub range, but I feel like there's like this long tail of the kick that kind of, you got the side chaining of the bass, but the side chain comes up and the kick is still there, if that makes sense. So there's like some interaction that is undesirable. And it also, it feels a little too round. Like it feels like it's trying to be aggressive or more aggressive than it actually is. And I think that instead of like a snappy clap, like having like a distorted snare or something a little bit lo-fi would definitely help. And Yeah, like that snare just isn't doing it for me. Like there's just, it's almost like a finger snap. And when you think of like heavy, you don't think of finger snap, right? So maybe play around with a bit more aggressive drums. I'm starting to wonder if there is side chaining or if it's just kind of being limited. It doesn't really sound like there is side chaining. Like if you are side chaining, you're not side chaining enough, I don't think. I almost think that this section could just drop into like the atmospheric stuff is really soundtracky and cool. I just think that the biggest thing that this track needs is better production during the drops. I like this part better, actually. This has a bit more energy, I think, to match the rest of the track than the first drop. There's a lot of really cool ideas in here. I think that like, what is it, like a phaser that you have on the bass? It's right here. I think that might be a little bit overused. I don't know, man. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this. A lot of cool ideas, a lot of cool elements. Yeah, I think like. You listen to that and the energy is quite off, and then I think you just need to keep going. Work on your side chain. If you're not side chaining, side chain. If you are side chaining, side chain harder. Experiment with some more aggressive sounding drums and maybe add some more layers for a bit more atmosphere in these parts, because I kind of feel like we have like kick, snare. Well, here we just have a kick in the bass and then like the little ding thing on the side. So yeah, I don't know. Keep going with it. It's cool. I like it. Moving on. All right, so this is one that was submitted a couple weeks ago, I think, and Vivo said that he did some more, or they did some more work to it. So let's take a listen. I remember this one. This is This almost reminds me of like the Star Wars bar scene, you know, with the anyway. Okay, so this is dope. My first thought was, what if you lost the piano thing as soon as it drops? That doodly 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 doodly, it kind of blends the two parts a little bit. Like when you hit that snare, I feel like that should be like okay, now we're kicking it off. And where that piano keeps going doodly 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 doodly, it just kind of it blends the two parts together. So maybe take it out of the first section, bring it back in somewhere. The snare is not as loud, I think, as it should be. And the sub, okay, so I think the sub is a little loud and the snare is a little quiet, and that's pretty much that's the extent of my criticism for this, I think. If you listen to this one note, I can't really tell you what note it is. I feel like there might be some disagreeing happening in the sub range, so maybe investigate that. Same right there. Yeah, it almost sounds like there's like two different notes being like played at the same time. Yeah, pretty much snare needs to come up. Like for this style, I feel like the snare really keeps you moving. It sets the pace, right? But the snare is a little bit buried amongst all of the sound design and stuff. The snare should take priority and just like push everybody out of the way and like, hey, I'm a snare, here I am, listen to me, and then it goes away and everything else can, you know, come back in. But yeah. Yeah, the sub, there's also like the sub is just kind of pushed a little too, it's not even that the sub is pushed a little too hard. I think it's that your mid-range is kind of scooped out. So a lot of the elements that are adding the energy in the mid-range are maybe not quite loud enough. But yeah, like this definitely makes me think that I'm kicking ass in Mega Man X or something. So it's dope. Okay, let's move on. Void Net. Deathwalk Master. Okay, this sounds like it's going to destroy my soul. Okay, this is cool. Two things that stick out to me. The snare at the start kind of threw me off, like the rhythm or I don't know. know, it didn't throw me off there, so maybe it was a me problem, I don't know. Yeah, it's the sequence of dun 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 dun. It kind of feels, I feel like I'm in the groove, but then the snare comes in, I'm like, oh, I'm in the wrong groove. I gotta like move my groove over or something. I don't know if that's necessarily a problem. It could be interesting, but I'd have to like try to like mix it like a DJ transition with another track to see if the snares are offset or something. I don't know. It kind of threw me off. Maybe it's just me. I'm not sure. Now the drums. Especially the snare, like I kind of feel like they're a bit of an afterthought or something. Like the bass is so big, like it's like, whoa, that's big, and it's dope. I think the snare just needs to punch through a little bit harder. It kind of feels like the sub or the basses are ducking the snare as opposed to the snare ducking the basses, and it's kind of, it's undermining the beat a little bit, I think. This track has a lot of personality. I think it's dope. I think you need to get the drums a little bit further up in the mix. I just feel like the bass sounds are just a bit too much of the focus. And also maybe try a shorter snare, like the tail. I'm not saying that it's not gonna work or it would be better if you did it the other way, but just try it and see if you do like an almost artificially short snare. I think that could be a cool juxtaposition. I try to use that word at least once a week in this drop. Jonth. Yes, if you want to submit for next week, I do it every Friday. Just go to my Discord server. It's discord.gg/FWLR Man, look at that DC offset. Yeah, biggest thing I think is like maybe investigate those snares at the beginning, because they did throw me off twice. When I listened to it back again, it still kind of threw me off. Maybe just see if, I don't know if the snares might be on the right spot, but the emphasis or the accents of the bass line that's running from the intro just didn't feel like it jived with the snare hits. And then try to get the drums up a little bit higher in the energy so that like the basses and the sound design are dope, and like the vibe is very, it's very death. I love it. But the drums are what create the pace, and I just felt like the pace wasn't quite there. So cool track. Let's move on. Xander. Oh my God, this is definitely a different style than what we just listened to. So here we go. We're going to give it the old FL Studio Master. This is awesome. I love this track. I think you're using that like that trap effects thing maybe too often. The that one. I don't know. I mean, like, maybe it's like a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it kind of gets a little old when you use it that often. The biggest thing with this is obviously you saw me just kind of go through and rip a quick master on it. And then my next thing would be finish it, because I don't know if it's done, but it's like a minute and a half long, and it's such a good track that you need to continue it. And maybe get some vocals on it, maybe go outside and steal a vocalist and bring them inside and they can sing for you. I don't know. It doesn't need it. Like, I think it's a dope track even without vocals, but with the right vocalist, even if the vocals are fairly minimal or something, you might find that it's quite a bop. In terms of like mixing, or really, it's just it just needs to be mastered. Is you know what I did here? Just kind of control the dynamics of each individual frequency band to get it a little tighter, and then limit it and get the volume up. Yeah, this is a dope track. It's got like a sad childhood kind of vibe, and I love it. So good job, dude. Or yeah, it's awesome. Keep it up, keep going, finish it, and send it to me. I want to own it. Okay, Ymir, Fall Polyghost remix.
All thieves and lovers are faithful admirers of sin. By that design, I'm a player of your violin.
Okay, right off the bat, I can't really hear the vocals. The vocals need to come up. Or stuff needs to go down, or you need to carve a spot out for them. The vocals are just kind of buried in there as almost like an afterthought.
I cast on your heart strings of spell.
Oh, and I just deleted the song by accident. Okay, yeah, still vocals not up enough. I think you have that sub bass that's just like a solid sub bass. I feel like if it was like a Reese kind of phasey, detuned bass sound, that would maybe fit the vibe a bit better. I don't even know what to say. That was crazy. I think that's what I'm gonna say, is that was crazy. If anything, I kind of wish that it would go into a bit more of a predictable pattern at some point, so I could kind of like It's kind of blowing my mind every time you do something different, but I'm just kind of like, I'm waiting to like know what's happening, and I don't feel like I've gotten to that point. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh my God, I'm being assaulted by all these sounds, and it's super dope. I think if you kind of balance that out with a little bit more predictability at some point so that we can kind of like get into a groove, it kind of did it, you know, at the end here. But it didn't go for very long before it did like a crazy blah fill, right? So the whole track kind of, it kind of feels like a big fill. And I love that. Like, I wouldn't get rid of that. I just think that if you could at some point have it go into a bit, I don't know, just a bit more steady or something that we could get into a groove. Unless you just want to blast the listener for the entire song, then hey, you go, girl. It's awesome. I don't really have any mix feedback besides maybe swapping out that solid sub bass with like a phasey kind of evolving sound, because it just kind of sticks out as like this like static volume like note that's being played. So maybe that. But yeah, the rest of it's super cool. And whether you want to dial back the insanity at some point and give us something to groove to, or you just want to go full bananas the entire time, I mean, that's up to you. Dope though. Cool. All right. Now, I'm sure this is not a song called Tasty by an artist named Big, but it's Big Tasty. Here we go. Okay, this is like back-to-back insanity. This is another crazy track. You're welcome, Xander. Thanks for sending. Yeah, okay, hold on. Okay, so there's like a lot of stereo, there's a lot of stereo. There's a lot of reverb. I think it's maybe a little overcooked on the reverb and the stereo-ness. Like, it might just be turning down the reverb a little bit and getting the snare. I'm not saying it needs to be dead mono, but right now I feel like I have two snares coming at me in each ear, right? So to have maybe one snare that's a little bit wide, but it's like most of the energy's in the center, that would give us something to anchor in the stereo image, because it's like, it's kind of, everything is super wide, right? Everything sounds very wide to me. Now, I'm definitely no expert in this style, but I could not tell you what key this song is in, nor could I tell you what notes are being played right now. Maybe that's okay. I mean, it sounds cool, it sounds heavy, and it makes me want to headbang, so there's that, but everything is kind of atonal, like it's like so almost detuned or something chorusy that I can't tell the note that's being played. And if you listen to the sub range, there's definitely a lot of disagreeing happening. There's some arguments going on down there. Again, not an expert in this style of music, so maybe that rumbliness is like part of what gives it that vibe. I don't know. Personally, if I was producing this track, I probably would go in and if you're listening to it on headphones or something, you might be able to hear right there, like there's no solid, note happening. I would probably try to fix that, but I don't know, take it with a grain of salt. Classic fade out. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah. Oh, come on, FL. There we go. I just want to make sure there wasn't more to it. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, it's a heavy track. I just think it could maybe do with a bit more tone or like discernible notes. I don't know. That kind of sounds insulting. I'm not meaning it to be insulting, but like in this drop, I can hear dun 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 dun, like I can hear the notes, right? But when it gets to this section, I kind of hear something droning, like in the background. So I don't know. Do with that what you will. I think it's a cool, heavy track. I want there to be more music. Okay, moving on. Evangelist, 994. I don't know. Kayakyashi? Okay, cool. I love how unique all these tracks have been so far. Like they've all been like, wow, this is interesting. There's been no cookie cutters, So this is different. It needs, like I was playing the sub bass, right? It needs something like that. Because it's I don't know, this is like a really cool it's a really cool and unique, almost like a, I don't know, it's almost like a loop. It doesn't really go anywhere, and it needs that 808. If it's gonna, I think this is a trap song. I think if you put a little bit more emphasis on like distorted 808, maybe some typical, maybe predictable trap elements, but layered it in with what you have here. Yeah, it's like industry said, it's a cool idea. It needs more development. If you just like, I don't even know what key it's in. Because I don't think it is in a key. But if I just like, if I crank, yeah, okay. Yeah. Keep going with it. Compare it against maybe some trap beats and try to, I think you've got more than enough uniqueness here, so maybe try to like bring it a little bit closer to what we would expect this style. Because when it comes down to it, like, you know how like stereotypes are kind of based on reality or whatever. Well, it's the same thing with styles and genres. All of the stuff that comes from a stereotypical kind of trap track, all of those elements are there for a reason, because it sounds good generally, right? That's not to say that you should just do the same thing every time and do the same thing as other people, but like I said, you got more than enough uniqueness in this little section that you could afford to use some more typical elements. So that would be my main concern. Okay, we're gonna go through this one real quick. You're only supposed to send one tracks. Okay. I'll do both. Again, this is super unique. I would maybe like, to me, the hi-hats sound very here is a hi-hat sample, enjoy. Whereas the rest of the track is almost like, wow, is that being ripped off of a VHS track or a VHS tape? So I would maybe treat the hi-hats, maybe bring them a bit more into the lo-fi area, because it's just, they're too clean versus everything else. Maybe even just tune them down and shorten them up so it's kind of like shittier sounding, right? Like, that's the rest of the track is like this super cool lo-fi horror video game soundtrack or something, but then the hats are just like clean 808 hats or something. And the bottom end's kind of a mess. I don't really know if that's a problem or not for this because it's such a unique track. But I would maybe try cleaning it up in terms of, like, I hear more than one note being played in the bottom end from time to time. But no matter what, you definitely can't say that those two tracks were not unique. They were very unique. I think that that's great, and I think you should continue to be yourself and be unique, and maybe just work on the production side of things, because I dig these cool tracks. Okay, moving on. Hunter, It's Gonna Be Okay, song 13_normal. I wonder what the other versions were like, if this is the normal one.
A little bit of run around. We ain't talking clearly, but I love you so much, and I know you love me too. So then, baby, what's up? I feel weird vibe.
Okay, now this is a strange piece of feedback considering what I've been saying to everybody else, but I think your vocals need to go down a little bit. They're kind of on top of everything.
Run around. We ain't talking clearly, but I love you so much, and I know you love me too.
I feel like from a songwriter's point of view, that line, I love you so much and I know you love me too, could maybe be a little more cryptic. It's a little too just kind of literal and out in the open. That's just my opinion. From one songwriter to another, that's what I think. Okay, let's keep going.
Then baby, what's up? I feel weird vibes lately. We're both in sit down, nigga, don't know what to do.
Okay, my next piece of advice would be take a look at your arrangement, at all of your elements, and to me, the whole track just kind of chugs along with very little changing, right? Like if we listen to the very start of it, we have that dun 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 dun, and we got the bass line, we got the drums.
We ain't talking.
We still got the bass line and the drums and the dun dun dun. It's like a guitar kind of thing.
We're both in sit down, nigga, don't know what to do.
That was kind of nice that you dropped the drums out, but like, yeah, there's like this like kind of dissonant chord stab. I think this is the chorus, but the fact that I don't know that's the chorus, I think should tell you that you got to be a little more, like, maybe manipulate your layers a bit. Pull out the guitar thing, replace it with something else. It's just, to me, it's a little too static in terms of arrangement. All the elements kind of get introduced, and once they're introduced, they've been chugging along so far. I also think, from a songwriter's point of view, I think there should be like a bit of a pre-chorus at some point. I don't know, like to just kind of, to me, it kind of still goes back to the, hey, we've like started this beat and we've kind of just carried the beat the whole time. If it maybe dropped out and there were just some like kind of like low pass chords and a little vocal pre-chorus for maybe like 8 bars or something, and then it drops into the chorus and the guitar comes back in, maybe it wouldn't be such a big deal. Let's continue. I think like your vocals aren't compressed or compressed enough, because there's some lines that kind of like poke through the mix, and then there's some lines that I'm kind of leaning closer trying to hear what the singer is saying. So maybe do some research into vocal processing. Like, I don't mind the reverb and the delay and the stuff. I think the auto tune is maybe a little overcooked on it, but I think it needs more compression.
Been having at it all day. I wish get tough this out all day. Well, can't you see how I'm on your side? Oh, there's got to be another way. Oh, baby, we got to take this all the way. Oh, baby, we got this if I'm just by your side. Oh, baby, I know we'll find more time, but you got me okay.
Yeah, okay, so that is the chorus because it's the only thing that's repeated. It's so buried. It needs to not be buried. I feel like you got some good stuff in there that I'm not able to latch onto because I can't quite hear it. But then like the non-hooky stuff is like right in my face, right? And that maybe a pre-chorus would help that, because you strip a bunch of stuff away. Here's the vocal, check it out, listen to it clearly, get it hooked in your head, and then come back with the beat with the vocal still there or something, right? Just arrangement wise, I just think you need to go through and take an inventory of what you got here, and then maybe treat the track a little bit different so that the vocals are the priority, and they're easily legible. They sound good. Legible? What? That's when you read words. Intelligible, I guess. Anyway, more clear. And let the track step back a little bit so the vocals can do their thing. And then bring the track back in and they can jive together. But like, I want the vocals to be the vocals are the most important part. So treat them as such. Okay, cool. Moving on. Industry Lab Orange. This sounds scary. Okay, yeah, this is sick.
Club sound.
I would maybe try taking all of your sound design bases and turn off all the side chaining to them. I'm not sure how you do your routing. I don't even know what you write in, but take them all, send them to a bus, and maybe you've already done this, but to me, some of the sounds were kind of a bit more pokey than others, and some of them were a bit more buried than others. See what it sounds like if you take all of your wubs and yoinks and all the different sound design stuff, send it to a bus, and then like slap some distortion on it or compression or OTT a little bit, or just kind of treat them all together as if they're one element. I think the most pokey one is this kind of like donkey, like donk 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 donk. And I love the dun dun. It almost sounds like it lands on the major third. Dun dun. Like that's what it sounds like it's doing, and I think it's just a FM an FM harmonic or something, but I love that. And you might be able to maybe emphasize it. Like let's find out what note that is. Yeah. At that spot, if you could like emphasize that either with a layer, maybe like a subtle super saw or something that emphasizes that, I think that would be dope because it's there, but it's kind of subtle, and that's cool, but maybe it could be a little less subtle. That's my favorite part of the track is when it goes dun dun, like that's my favorite part. I would even like I would have the bam bam at the start. And I know that sounds like I'm just trying to tell you to recreate my song Hot, but like it kind of sounds like it wants to do it, but to me it sounds like a happy accident that that's the motif, or that's like the thing that sticks to my head. I mean, it's there too. Na, 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 na. It's the one semitone thing, right? But yeah, I think if you emphasize, oh God, I'm not on 3 oscillator anymore. Yeah, I think that would be dope, and I can tell it's it's not finished, so obviously keep going. The build up was a little like this area. This was cool, but it kind of got me hyped, and then it kind of just like dropped out and didn't do a whole lot until the drop came back in. So maybe I know that you're probably planning on embellishing that, but if you're gonna get us hyped up, like don't get us hyped up, pull the rug out, and then have to build the anticipation back up. I don't know. To me, that just is it's a little bit messy in terms of arrangement. Like if there was something else that came in, even if the beat went away, but there was something else that came in that like gave us some hype, like continued the hype train, up until the drop, it wouldn't feel kind of like we've come to a stop. But yeah, those are my suggestions. I think it's a dope track. Let's go to the next one. Kilo somehow Westbrook remix. Okay. I'm also going to take this opportunity to thank our sponsor again, the Raw granola bar. Thanks.
Keep it in the dark. It's a controversial move. Just how much that I have back to you from the start. Feel it on a high. Keep it on the high. I know analyze if you let me, you know that these conversations wait on top of me. It's got me on my knees. 'Cause you left it up to me somehow.
Okay, the reason why I had a cheeky grin was because I love that we have seen the improvement of the Westbrook or the Westbrook mixing techniques over the past like month. I was like waiting to see if the kick and sub range were going to be too loud, and then they came in and they weren't, and I was like, nice. Okay, so yeah, this sounds really good. I'm wondering if the clap or the snare or something could have a little bit more fundamental or a little bit more punch, like lower mids or something. It kind of sounds like a scratch every time it happens. Kind of sounds like somebody spanking somebody's butt with a sandal. It's not even that it sounds bad. I just feel like the clap or the snare doesn't carry much weight. And it doesn't need, I don't think you need to change the sample. Maybe layer a sample, or maybe just an EQ bump in the low mids or something, or yeah, like Raham said, maybe just remove the reverb. Or turn it down or something. It's just it's a little too soft, I think. Back to you from the start. Feel it on the high. Keep it on the high. I know it'll normalize if you let me, you know. Conversations wait on top of me. It's got me on my knees. 'Cause you left it up to me somehow. Yeah, I think the vocals have a little bit too much of the fundamental, like 300 hertz in it. These conversations wait on top of me. It's got me on my knees. 'Cause you left it up to me somehow. Yeah, it's like right at 300 hertz. You can really hear it when she says you left it up to me or something. To me somehow. 'Cause you left it up to me somehow. I think overall the vocals could maybe get compressed a bit more so they could cut through the mix a little bit better, because they're still a little blurry or buried. Like the mix is kind of like this nice ambient thing, and the vocal is kind of just getting stirred around in it, right? So I think if you could get the vocals a little clearer, because I couldn't tell you any words that she's said up until this point, and that is because I have mild brain damage and can't remember things, but also the vocals aren't super clear. Yeah, I think there's like some commitment issues here in the mix. Like I don't know. There's a lot of really nice things happening, but they're all kind of like rounded off and like in nice little spots, and everything's just kind of nice. I think if some of the elements were a little more like spotlighted or a little bit more emphasized, and if the vocals just came up a bit more, I think that would make the track sound a lot better. But overall, the mix sounds good. The master is not very loud, but I would, I'd maybe limit it and push it a bit harder. It doesn't need to be loud. I'd rather listen to a quiet track than an overly compressed track. So overall, the mix sounds good. I'm happy with that. Turn the vocals up and make the snare a bit more punchy. Cool. Good job. Moving on. Okay, Nitro, Daydreaming. Plus 45 points because they put the date in. Cool. Wow, that was nuts. Wow. Camera is doing some crazy things. I don't know what that means. I hope my stream is okay. Okay, so this is super cool. I don't think the kick coming in here is a good choice. If anything, I'd like maybe bring like a hip hop beat or something, something cool and groovy. The kick is just kind of by itself in the punchy. Oh, I see. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I think lose the kick. Let this section be groovy. I think the kick is really almost ruining the groove. Especially when it does that, because like this track is not typical, but that build up thing is. So I just altogether get rid of the kick, put in a cool, maybe like crunchy lo-fi kind of hip hop that gets us ready for this section. And then, okay, now let's dig into this section. The snare is almost unperceivable. It needs to have I don't know, let's do this. Sure. Let's try this one and we'll just make it a little tighter and let's find a snare. Yeah, the snare kind of sounds like it sounds like an acoustic drum set snare. Oh, it's already so much better. Like, there, I fixed your track. I'm just joking. Yeah, the snare has to be much more punchy. Because when you think about it, you got this super punchy kick and all these like super like aggressive cool sounds, but then the snare is just like a little ping, like it's just like I don't know, it's weak. Snare weak. Do better. Everything else about this drop is dope. I wouldn't even change anything except the snare. Make this section twice as long. Whatever. I like it as a build up to the drop. The drop is by far the best part of this track. Don't do the same thing, twice as long, but this section should be twice as long in my opinion because it's so cool, and there's so many opportunities to manipulate the pattern or drop out a sound and replace it with something else. Like you could do so many cool things, and I'm so hyped on this drop, and then it just ends and goes into an equally long breakdown, which there's not even really a melody in the breakdown. There's not even really a melody there, so I don't know. I would treat these breakdown sections as if they were serving the greater good, which is the drop. Yeah, that's super dope. Better snare, more drop, less rain. That's my suggestions for this, but really cool. Okay, Nothing Good Comes Easy remix. I don't know who this was from. Here we go. Okay, first of all, the vocals, I believe, are not loud enough. Those are my beliefs. Like, I feel like I'm squinting to try and hear the vocals. They also sound like they might have some, like, stereoizer or something on them. They don't sound fully wide, but they sound a little phasey or something. So maybe try and figure out how to get the vocals to cut through a bit better. That vocoder thing is cool, but like it adds up so much in that like 3,000 to 5,000 hertz range. Why do I keep doing Alt Tab? Where's my thing? There we go. Yeah, I don't know. You got to be careful with that. It's a cool sound, but like there's so much energy already there that it's just overwhelming to the ears. I feel like the sub bass is very loud, and the other sounds are not loud enough to match. Like the phaser kind of soundy bass. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I almost think that you should like just fully commit to the subby sound. You know, like this sound, like or something. I don't know. I'm not saying do that, but also the kick is almost inaudible. Yeah, it's gonna get more sidechained or something. The kick needs to cut through. I'm losing the kick. It just kind of sounds like that sub bass is really being a bully to everything else. So maybe turn that down.
Truth is the hardest pill to swallow. Your truth hit harder than you thought it would. When your heart fills your mind with perfection, it never ends up how you expected. If the going gets tough, that's the part you gotta ride through, fight through, give your life to. When the going gets tough, that's the part you do it. So I know you're here to stay for me. Nothing good can change.
This drop sounds better than the first drop to me. I think you used a different kick, maybe. Yeah, this was kind of treated like a, I don't know, kind of like a trap drop. This is treated kind of like a mid-tempo. I don't know, turn the bass down, get the vocals clearer, and be careful when you're vocoding that you don't overdo it and 3,000 to 5,000 hertz range up here.
Nothing good can change.
I'm hearing some dissonance right here. Go through, make sure all your basses and everything are playing the right notes, the same notes, the right notes at the right time, and all that stuff. Okay, cool. Moving on. Mr. Hardware himself, Paranerd, Clobber Puff. That is an interesting title. No doubt going to be an interesting track. Man, I don't even know what kind of advice to give you. This is kind of in its own universe. It's super weird and super cool. Maybe that pad could have a little bit of reverb or something to give it some width. It feels very mono to me. I don't know, dude. This is so cool. I love this style of music. I love that you do this all on hardware. I would not be able to do anything close to this on hardware. It blows my mind that you're able to do this. This is cool. I don't know what to tell you besides that pad could be a little bit wider. That is the extent of my feedback. There's no issues. It's like a cool IDM weird track, and I love it. So thanks for sending. I wish I had more useful information to give you. I feel like I'm having a fever dream. So if that's what you're going for, then great job. That was really cool. Okay. Moving on. This is the Pegboard Nerds remix that Drop Pop submitted last week, but he did a bunch of work to it, so we're going to listen to it again. This sidechain with no sidechain source kind of feels weird to me. I think I got that same piece of bass last time. The sub sounds too loud to me. Yeah, if you look over in the spectrum analyzer, you can see that the sub is just kind of a hump, and it's very dynamic. Like you can feel the sub range coming loud, quiet, like it's moving around a little bit more than the rest of the track, which makes it feel disconnected. Yeah, I think the sub range is a bit too dynamic. I feel like there's some top end missing in this section or something. It feels a little bit like dull. Yeah, the mix is pretty good. I think the master, yeah, you could use a little love, squishing things a little bit in the right way, in the right area. Like that sub range needs to be a bit more controlled in terms of dynamics, and then the whole track can be pushed harder because of the style. I mean, this should be kind of a sausage brick, right? Just because it's like a banger kind of electro tune. But yeah, I think it sounds better than last week, so you're definitely headed in the right direction, and it's nice to see that the mastering is definitely better than it was last week, so keep it up. Okay, Rayhem and Ezwin. Reswin is now real, and it's actually a full track this time. Cool. Last week, they submitted 2 separate tracks that kind of were 2 halves of the same thing, and I didn't know, and then I was confused, and my brain hurt, and now I understand, so let's hear it. Play. Okay, first of all, just do this. Oh, maybe not that. Okay, I would like tease that like maybe the distance doing something, tease it a little bit so it doesn't just come out of nowhere when we get it, right? I just like picture in this section, I just picture like some greasy guy with like long greasy hair and a button-up shirt that's like open too low, playing a guitar and just like playing little licks. So far, it sounds dope. I don't really have any big concerns besides like shorten that little intro a bit and tease the somehow, even if it's like send it through a bunch of reverb, record it, reverse that reverb so we have the harmonics that it's gonna play reversing into it. It's not even that we need to hear the melody, it's just that we need, I think, a little bit of foreplay for those harmonics. So like just like that and then into the lead. Let's listen to the rest. I don't love that snare. It reminds me of Terminator 2. Judgment Day. I don't know. I don't know if that snare's the right snare. It draws a lot of attention to itself. This arrangement is a little clunky, right? We got the drop of the main section. We've stripped it down to the chords. We bring the drums in. There's like cool stuff happening, but then we strip it back down to the chords. Yes, it's piano now, but if you think about the arrangement here, if you think about in terms of like in level of anticipation or level of excitement or level of energy, it's kind of doing a little whoop-de-doo. So that could maybe be tweaked a little bit. Okay, the lead thing. Hi. The lead thing is maybe mono. I feel like the drastically changed when I got to this spot. Let's take a listen, or take a look. Take a look and a listen. Why not? Yeah, like the stereo width sounds different to me. I think it's mostly due to that, to the lead sound. It sounds like it collapses into almost mono or something. I don't know what it is, but maybe investigate. Is this the Rayhem part or the Eswin part? It sounds like the Rayhem part to me. Cool, like it's rocking, and I like that. I noticed, like, it stuck out to me, like, oh my god, the stereo channel, or the stereo information has, like, collapsed a little bit, right? It's like, it distracted me from the part, because I'm like, oh, what happened, you know? So the part is great, and it's rocking, but let's figure out the stereo information a bit more. Yeah, I mean, other than that, like the arrangement I think is my biggest concern at this point. It kind of gets a little murky. It kind of sounds like, here's what it sounds like, and I might be wrong, but this is what it sounds like to me. You guys had a lot of fun doing these parts, and then you said, okay, now we need something here, I guess. And then you put something there, I guess. So, and I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. So, cool, good job. It makes a lot more sense than it did last week, so thank you for that. All right, Spirits by No Name Yet. That's a very unique and clever name. I'm maybe in the middle of the track. Yes, spoiler alert, that's the middle of the track.
Yeah. Everybody come on. Bring it on.
Okay, this is dope. The sub seems to be in the wrong octave to me. Let's figure out what key it is.
More.
It's in C. That's going to be challenging. C is like the bottom of as low as you would go. Yeah, that's kind of the note it wants to be, but it's very low. So it's playing that note, but that note's very high. So C is a very hard key to produce electronic music in, or at least kind of bassy music.
Yeah, everybody come on.
Yeah, man, I hate to tell you this, but if I were you, I would shift the key of the song up, I don't know, 5 semitones, get it up to E, or maybe 2, get it to D, because suddenly D is much more friendly to sub range, right? C is very challenging to get the sub to be audible without going up an octave, and now all of a sudden the sub's not a sub. It's like this weird, like, sine wave sounding thing. So I don't know how hard it would be for you to pitch shift this, but I would try shifting it up to D or D sharp, so up 2 or up 3 semitones, because I think then you can bring your sub bass down an octave, and all of a sudden you've got this nice foundation to build on.
Yeah, everybody come on. Bring it on.
order to submit, you go to my Discord server. It's discord.gg/Fowler Music, FWLR Music. And the instructions are there. I do it every Friday. And if you submit now, I'll review it next Friday. So a week from now. Okay, so back to this. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. I really would like to hear this up 2 or 3 semitones so we can get that bottom end really girthy, right? Also, this section seems to be too long because it doesn't really give us any new information when we get halfway through it. It's very dirty. I like that. The guitars could, or if it's a guitar, whatever that sounds like a guitar, it could be a bit more wide. It sounds very in the middle. I mean, it is in the middle. I would maybe, I don't know how you've done it, if you've recorded real guitars and you have more takes that you could use to hard pan left, hard pan right. Maybe do it that way.
Yo, everybody come on.
Oh, there's the width. Okay, never mind.
Yo.
Okay, can already tell you that the arrangement, and you might know this, the arrangement looks kind of whack. You got lots of cool stuff to work with, but I don't think that you have arranged this into a song yet. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's mono. There's like a lot of stuff in the center. I think, and usually I have to tell people to put more stuff in the center because they make everything wide, right? But I think this is too mono. Let's compare the, let's take a listen to the mids and the sides. Here's the sides. Did I just delete it? No. That's all that's on the sides, right? So let's now listen to the mid channel. So just like when we're mixing volume and frequencies, you're trying to find kind of places for different elements to give them their own little area to live. You want to do that with the stereo field as well. And I feel like you have a lot of real estate on the sides and, you know, in the stereo field, there's a lot of unused real estate and there's a lot of elements kind of piled up in the center of the stereo channel. So maybe just go through and see if you can add a little bit of width here. And I'm not suggesting you slap stereoizer plugins on everything. There's different ways to do it. You could use a little bit of reverb, short room reverb. You could use some unison if there's synths. You could, you know, use different takes if it's a guitar and pan them. There's different ways of doing it, but I feel like you need to, the two biggest things this track needs is potentially a key change so you can get that sub down where it belongs. And then, you need to explore the stereo field a little more vigorously. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but you need to explore the stereo field a little bit more and get stuff in their own spots, stereo-wise. But other than that, it's like, it's a super cool, like, it's rocking. It sounds like something from like a fight scene in a movie, or, you know, like it's super cool. I think that there's a song in there somewhere, but right now it's just a collection of cool parts and you need to somehow create a journey for the listener. And right now this almost feels to me like a demo reel. Like it's like, here, check out all these cool things I can do. But I know I didn't listen to the whole thing straight through, but I can tell just by looking at it that it doesn't look like the kind of journey that I'd like to go on. It doesn't have kind of a beginning, a middle, and an end. It kind of has a beginning, a middle, 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 and an end, if you know what I mean. But yeah, super cool track, super cool elements. I just make a new version of the project and just try shifting everything up to a better key. And I think a lot of your problems will go away once you're able to bring the sub back down and be a little more creative with the stereo field. And that's all I have to say about that one. So that's it for this week. Another hour and a half-ish, so that's great. I really like hanging out with you guys and checking out your music, so keep on sending if you want to be included in future streams. They happen every Friday at 5 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. If you want to submit, you go on my Discord channel. It's discord.gg/FowlerMusic. The links are everywhere, wherever you're watching. I'm sure there's a link close by. And there's instructions in there, so share them. And also hop on the channel and give each other feedback. I shouldn't be the only one giving feedback. So go and help each other out, and let's try to grow as a community of musicians. Once again, big shout out to what's left of today's sponsor, the Raw Granola Bar. And thank you for making this stream possible. You guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.